So, Rabbi side, we started saying Zayin Chedrin, which is 2 days ago, whatever. We started saying Talamator. So, I would like to talk about some of the issues of saying Talamator. A lot of issues to talk about. Hopefully, we'll get to most of them. But I just wanted to start off with the famous question, which is actually negated to Mashiach Hamayda Gushem or Geshem. And that's the question. What is the proper nusach? Right? That already starts saying by Shmini Atzeres. Should we say Gushem or Geshem? So we know the rule is whenever you're at the end of a pasuk or by a snachta, which is a pause in a pasuk, the rules of diktik are the patach or the segel change into a kametz. So sometimes you see in the Chumash it would say Mitzrayim, and sometimes it would say Mitzrayim. And you're like, what's the place of the name? Well, what is it called, Mitzrayim or Mitzrayim? The answer is it depends on where you find it in the pasuk. If you find it at the end of the pasuk, it will say Mitzrayim. If you find it, I guess it gives it more of a pause type of feeling. Mitzrayim, a stronger vowel. And when it's in the middle of a sentence, you say Mitzrayim. Right? You find this all over the Chumash, that the segel and the kametz, the segel and the patach change to a stronger vowel of a kametz. Like you'll find kina'an or kina'an. Right? It's replete. So, the same thing about Geshem is what we usually say Rein, but do we say Gushem? Because seemingly, a Mashiach Hamayda ha Gushem or Geshem is a sentence on its own. It's the beginning of an idea and an end of an idea. So there should be like a pregnant pause. It should be like a pause between Mashiach Hamayda ha Gushem and then we start a new idea. That's the question. Or do we say that no, there shouldn't be a pause over there. It's considered like a run-on sentence, and you read it Mashiach Hamayda ha Geshem mechak l'chaim b'chesed. That's the question. So seemingly, it is universal for those of us who say Morid ha, right? Morid ha tol. Right? In Eretz Yisrael, everyone says Morid ha tol. In America, Nusach Sfard says Morid ha tol. Right? Even the summers we say Ata Gibor Leim Hashem, Mechai Meisam Ata Rav Lashia, Morid ha tol. Right? Nusach Sfard says it. I think in Eretz Yisrael everyone says it. They say Morid ha tol. We never heard anyone say Morid ha tal. We never heard anyone say Morid ha tal, even though it is called Tfilas tal, meaning the proper way to say it, or usually say tal. But since Morid ha tol is an end of a sentence, right? Morid ha tol is a sentence on its own. So seemingly, just like we say Morid ha tol, so seemingly we should say Mashiach Morid ha Gushem. Because just like a tol is considered an end of a sentence, so tal also should be end of a. So also, just like might have told the end of a sentence, so Gushem should also be an end of a sentence, right? Oh, but there was a famous sefer that came out a couple of years ago called Mechalkel Chaim, and he brought many rayas that no, there's a fundamental difference between Mashiach Morid ha Geshem and Morid ha tol. Meaning he felt we should say Geshem, but we should say tol too. Meaning Morid ha tol is its own sentence, and therefore we don't say Morid ha tal, right?
What's the punctuation of Morid ha tol?
Tal or tol? What's the right way to say it? That's what we're going to get involved in. He's going to basically say tol, Morid ha tol is the end of a sentence. Mashiach Hamayda ha Geshem is actually a continuation. So he feels that the proper way is to say tol and Geshem, which seems like a contradiction. If it's tol, it should be Gushem. If it's Geshem, it should be tal. Oh. He explains the reason is because there are many midrashim that talk about in the end of days there's going to be something called the Tchias HaMesim, right? Everyone believes in Tchias HaMesim. Even the Rambam agrees in Tchias HaMesim, even though some people say not that way, right? Even the Rambam, everyone agrees in Tchias HaMesim. There's no question about that. Now, the Midrashim and the Kabbalah are replete. How does the Rabbi Shalom do Tchias HaMesim? How does he do it? It says there in the Medrash that he brings a special towel, a special type of dew, and he sprinkles the dew all over the dead bones or whatever it is, and sprouts out people alive. We find the same Medrash by Yitzchak. It says by the Akedah that actually Yitzchak actually died out of fright maybe, or maybe out of dveikus, whichever way you want to look at it. He died, and the Medrash says openly that Hashem brought a special towel, and he sprinkled it on Yitzchak, and right there, the Malachim said, Baruch Atah Hashem, Mechayeh HaMesim. Right? So now, we learn that towel is a vehicle of bringing up Tchias HaMesim. Now, what is the second bracha of Shemona Esrei about? It's about Tchias HaMesim. So when it comes to towel, you read it like this. Ata giba l'ayim Hashem, Mechayeh Mesim Ata, Rav Loishia, Morid Hatol. Because we're trying to say that the towel has two implications, or two meanings. One is regular towel that is good for the world, but it also has an understanding of doing Tchias HaMesim. So in that context, the towel is actually connected to the first sentence. So you read it, Mechayeh Mesim Ata, Rav Loishia, Morid Hatol. End of concept, end of idea. Because we want to intimate that the toll is actually connected to the sentence before, which is Mechayeh Mesim. So that's where the sentence ends. Now, when it comes to Geshem, do we ever find that rain has anything to do with Tchias HaMesim? No, rain has nothing to do with Tchias HaMesim. So actually, when it comes to the rain, there is no connection to the sentence before. It's the start of a new idea. What does rain do? The rain is a source of sustenance. So the way you read it is, Geshem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed. The rain is actually connected to the next sentence. So when it comes to rain, the word Geshem is actually in the middle of a sentence. Through the rain, God produces regular fruits, produce, regular life. So therefore, it makes sense to say over there Geshem, because it's the middle of a sentence. When it comes to toll, it's actually connected to the sentence before. What's the sentence before? How? Through toll. So therefore, over there, it makes sense to say toll, because that's an end of a sentence. Now, this is why many places can say we actually say Morid HaTol, which is the end of a sentence. When it comes to Geshem, we say it's the middle of the sentence. Now, in the Skam of the Sefer, Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach writes this also that his whole entire life he would say Gushem. And when he read his Sefer, he changed his mind. At the end of Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach's life, he changed his mind. He said, you know what, you're right. We should say Geshem. He agreed to this Sefer's contention. At the end of the day, you can do whatever you want. It's not the end of the world. But I just wanted to explain to you why there shouldn't be a contradiction between Tol and Geshem, because it seemingly is a contradiction. Because Tol implies the end of a sentence, and Geshem implies a middle. And that's what I'm saying, exactly that's the way it is. Okay? That was the first thing I wanted to bring out. That was just a little bit of a opener. Now I want to say something over from Rabbi Yitzchak Hutner, the Rosh Yeshiva Chaim Berlin, and I learned the Chaim Berlin. Now, usually he's very famous for machshava, but actually what I'm going to say over from him now has nothing to do with machshava. It's a pure piece of lumdus. So pay attention. There's a famous machlokes between the Rambam and Rav Hai Goin. Right? Right? Rav Hai Goin is probably the most famous Goin. Right? And what is that machlokes about? Well, we all know that we started saying Saint Talamater. And Saint Talamater is something that is a must. You know, it's not optional. If you don't say it, you got to pray again. You got to daven again, right? That's the law. If you, let's say today, and Eretz Yisrael Dika, we're not. In the end of this year, if we ever get to, we'll talk about you guys. But a real Eretz Yisrael Dika like me says by accident saying bracha out of route, and he comes at the end of the Shemona Esrei, he finishes davening, he goes, steps his foot back, he listens. Oh my gosh. You got to daven again. The whole thing. But there are certain avenues of escape, right? We can salvage the situation if you remember on time. Meaning, What's the law? If you remember doing V'alav al Shinim. So you said Baruch Aleinu, and you forgot to say Sein Talamater. You forgot to say Sein Talamater. You're middle of Al Sadiqim, you're middle of Yerushalayim. Oh my gosh, I didn't say Sein Talamater. What do you do? Anyone know? No, you do not go back to Baruch Aleinu. You do not go back to Baruch Aleinu. Excellent. In Shema Kaleinu, this is open Shulchan Aruch, I didn't make this up. If you can say it in Shema Kaleinu, right? So if you forgot to say Sein Talamater and Baruch Aleinu, you have an avenue of escape by saying in Shema Kaleinu.
Just that part, not the whole process.
Right, just that part. You just say, Mefanach Maken Rekamah Tishivenu, and then you have the two dots where it says you can add it any. Right there you say the same Talamater, and then you go on. Now, if you finish Shemoneh Esrei already, that's it. You got to daven the whole thing again. And if you remember by Mincha, you got to daven 2 minchas. Meaning, if you daven Shachris, you forgot saying Talamater, and then you're eating lunch and like, oh my gosh, I forgot saying Talamater. You got to daven 2 minchas. Right now, what's the machzem of the Chalekes? Before. That's it. Yeah, before. Right. You know, those of us who has problems, they might see the two little. When all of a sudden you say, oh, and God, I need a Maserati, and maybe I want to pay my bills. You can start adding in whatever you want, right? You can put it in whatever you want, your personal tefillas. And then you end up Kiyata Shemea. So in that place, you say, Sein Talamater Vracha. Let's get it straight. If you remember, that's it. And that's it. Now, so you forgot. If you remember before Shema Kaleinu, you can salvage it in Shema Kaleinu. If you remembered after you finish Shemoneh Esrei, you got down the whole thing again. The big machlokes is, let's say you remember you're in Shalom, you're in Sim Shalom, right? You're in Sim Shalom. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't say Sein Talamater. You definitely got to go back. Where do you go back to? Do you go all the way back? It's like Chutes and Ladders. Do you go all the way back to Baruch Aleinu? Or could you just go back to Shema Kaleinu? You're by Maidim. Maidim and Achtalach, you bend down. Oh my gosh, I did not say Sein Talamater. You stop. No question, you stop right there and then. Wherever you are, but where do you go back to? Do you go back? No, don't finish nothing. Wherever you are, you go. I know it sounds. Yeah. Right. If you're, let's say, you're Maidim and Achtalach, and you're like, thank you, God. Oh my gosh, I forgot to say Talamater. Right there, you stop. You stop right there. And you got to go back. Where do you go back to? Exactly. You got to go back and go all, exactly like Chutes and Ladders. Wherever you go back, you got to go, continue from there. Where do you go? Now, kindness is not part of davening anymore. You're finished. Kindness, you're finished. You cannot say another kindness. That's not the option. What I just said you're finished is I don't want to get involved in that. That's a whole other shiloh. When is it called that you're finished? You got to go back to the whole Shemoneh Esrei, or when is it still finished Shemoneh Esrei? You could go back to what we're discussing now. So let's get it straight. You're in Maidim. You realize you've got to say Sein Talamater Vracha. Where do you go back to? Well, 2 options. Maybe go back to Baruch Aleinu, because that's where you were supposed to say it originally. Or maybe you could go back to Shema Kaleinu, because we said already there is an option to say it in Shema Kaleinu. So where do you go back to? This is the machlokes, the Rambam and Rav Haigoin. The Rambam says you go all the way back to Baruch Aleinu. Once you didn't say it in Shema Kaleinu, you got to go back all the way to Baruch Aleinu. All the way back to Baruch Aleinu. And Rav Haigoin says, no. Why go all the way back to Baruch Aleinu? You were supposed to say it in Shema Kaleinu. There was stop 1, stop 2. Stop 1 was Baruch Aleinu. Stop 2 was Shema Kaleinu. You missed both stops. Now you're in Maidim. So go back to the first stop that you're letting go. Go back to the first stop that you're able to. Why go all the way back to Baruch Aleinu? And then start davening all those brachas again. That's the machlokes, Rav Haigoin and the Rambam. Who do you pass like? The Rambam. You actually go back to Baruch Leinu. Excellent. You're like a real lamdan. So Rav Hutner is talking about that. What is the Nakuda HaPnimius? I got a little machshav in there. What is the essence of what they're arguing about? Oh. So Rav Hutner said like this. We can have a chakira. Very yeshivish. Very yeshivish Torah. A chakira. Clearly, stop A is Baruch Aleinu. Baruch Aleinu is where you are supposed to say Saint Talamat Avracha. No question about that. Baruch Aleinu is all about Parnasa. Rein is about Parnasa. That's where you're supposed to say Saint Talamat, right? Again, Saint Talamat Avracha is a bakasha. You're asking God for rain. It's not like Masha Baruch Amari Gushem. Masha Baruch Amari Gushem, you're not asking God for anything. You're saying a statement, oh, God is wonderful. He's the one who created rain. That's a shevach, right?
That's why you wouldn't go back if you missed it.
No, that's not. Forget. Let's leave that. We'll get to that in a minute. Masha Baruch Amari Geshem is a shevach, a praise. It's not asking God for anything. We're just mentioning God is the producer of rain. Saying Talamata is a petition. We are beseeching. We are asking God. We need rain. So clearly the right place is Baruch Aleinu. Why is it that if you messed up, you could make it up again in Shema Kaleinu? Why is that? So there are two possibilities. Possibility number one is there is a general din by Shema Kaleinu that you could ask for whatever you want. Right? So when you get to Shema Kaleinu, you say, God, please send me the Maserati. God, I need that vacation. Say, give me that vacation. Let me win the lotto. You can ask whatever you want in Shema Kaleinu. Anything you want. Right? Right? God, please make sure my shirt's already in the dry cleaner because I got a big meeting and I need the iron shirt. Whatever you want to ask. So it could be like this. Since you're allowed to ask for anything in Shema Kaleinu, so if you ask for rain, even though it's just a general thing about asking for anything, but since you did mention rain, you know what? You don't got to daven again. It's almost like a b'diavad. Like, you know, if you mention rain in Shema Kaleinu, you mentioned it with your Maserati, and you mentioned it with the dry cleaning, and you mentioned it with all the other things. So bottom line, you mentioned rain. That's called Yochid Shoyel Adam Kol Sarchav. Shoyel Adam Kol Sarchav in Shema Kaleinu. So even though it's not dedicated, this concept that you can ask in Shema Kaleinu is not dedicated for rain, it's dedicated for anything. But bottom line is, if you mention rain, you're good to go. Or can we say another pshat? That's Hakir number one. Sad number two is, no. There was a special takana. The rabbi said you should ask for rain in Baruch Aleinu. The rabbi said a special takana. If you mess up in Baruch Aleinu, they said you could actually say it in Shema Kaleinu. Nothing to do with the other din that you're allowed to ask for a Maserati and you're allowed to ask for whatever else you want. Initially, when the rabbis were sitting down, you know what? We got to say same Talamat Avracha. The rabbi said there's stop one and stop two. You hear? It's a fundamental difference. According to the first side, there wasn't a special takana to say rain in Shema Kaleinu. The takana was only in Baruch Aleinu. There's a side thing that we find. Shoyel Adam Kol Sarchav, a person allowed to ask for anything in Shema Kaleinu. They said, so if it happens to be, if you ask for rain too, so you know what, you mentioned rain. That's side one. Side two is, no. Nothing to do with Shoyel Adam Kol Sarchav. Side two is, the rabbis made a special takana. Takana number one was say it in Baruch Aleinu. Takana number 1 and 2 was, if you mess up in Baruch Aleinu, you're allowed to say it in Shema Kaleinu. Something like that, in that sense, right. Now, so, let's see. So we're going to see that this Chakira is going to actually have to do with what the Rav Hai Gaon and the Rambam holds. We're going to see it in a minute. Rav Hai Gaon holds that the reason why you could say Saint Talamata Uvracha in Shema Kaleinu is because there was a special takana to say it in Shema Kaleinu. And the Rambam holds, you know why you can say Saint Talamata in Shema Kaleinu? Not because of the special takana. Because since anyway you could ask for Maserati, you could ask for everything else, so you could also have mentioned rain. But there wasn't a special din that yes, you could also say the Shema Koleinu. Oh, meaning, the Ran, when he explains Rav Haigoin says again, if you wake up in Moedim, the Rav Haigoin says go back to Shema Koleinu, which is actually what the Yerushalmi says. We'll see soon that's actually what the Yerushalmi says. The Ran explains why. The Ran explains like this. You always go back to the last place you made a mistake. That's the rule. The rule is, where do you go back to? If you didn't finish my Esrei, you go back to the place where you made your mistake. Where the tragedy happened, where the mistake happened. Right? That's the Ran's Lashon. Pray tell. Let's go in, let's say you didn't say Saint Talmater in Baruch Aleinu. And the reason why you could say rain in Shema Koleinu is not because the Rabbi made a special takana. It happens to be, you could ask for a car, you could ask for a watch, you could ask for rain too. Does it make sense to say you made a mistake in Shema Koleinu by not mentioning rain? Let's say you need a car and you forgot to ask for your car. You need a Maserati, you forgot to ask. For the last 20 years you're diving for the Shema Koleinu, nothing's happening, but you're asking it. One day you forgot to ask for your Maserati. Is it because you made a mistake? No. So think about it. Your mistake was in saying Tal Umata. It was in Baruch Aleinu. You didn't say saying Tal Umata in Baruch Aleinu. That's where your mistake was. It happens to be, if you would have mentioned it in Shema Koleinu together with your car and the watch, it happens to be you would have covered your tracks. But it's not correct to say you made a mistake that you didn't mention rain in Shema Koleinu when there's no din to mention rain in Shema Koleinu. Right? So, the Rambam, so if the Ram says, you know why you go back to Shema Koleinu? Oh, because that's where you made your mistake. You didn't mention the rain in Shema Koleinu. It's not called a mistake. Oh, if you learn that there was a takana. What was the takana? Takana one was to say Saint Talamat Avracha in Baruch Aleinu. Takana two was to say it in Shema Koleinu, meaning the rabbis, when they sat down, they said, it's stop one, stop two. Then you could say, if you didn't mention Shema Koleinu, you made a mistake. Because the rabbi specifically said, mention in Shema Koleinu. That's what they said you should do. It was a special takana. It's part of the matpeah. So, right, exactly. So that's where the Haikon holds. You're in Maidim. When you're in Maidim, where'd you make a mistake? You made two mistakes. You made in Baruch Aleinu, and you made in Shema Koleinu. So you could always go back to where you made a mistake. So if Haikon says go back to Shema Koleinu. But the Rambam and Tosfos openly says in Brachos, you know why you say Saint Talmater in Shema Koleinu? Because like you could ask for everything else, you could ask for that too. Meaning there wasn't a special takana to say rain in Shema Koleinu. So according to Rambam, where did you make a mistake? You made a mistake in Baruch Aleinu. It's true if you would have said Saint Talmater Uvracha in Shema Koleinu, you would have fixed it. That's true. But you can't say you made a mistake. It's not possible to say, oh, you made a mistake in Shema Koleinu. You didn't make a mistake. You just didn't, like, it's like not mentioning that you wanted a car. So according to the Rambam, when you're in Maidim, you can't go back to Shema Koleinu. You got to go back all the way to Baruch Aleinu. Because it's incorrect to say that you made a mistake when you didn't mention it in Shema Koleinu, just like it's incorrect that you made a mistake if you didn't mention the car. Well, this is what I've put this Torah. But it gets better. There's a problem here. There is a problem here. And this will make it more clear. Rav Haigoin says, you go back to Shema Koleinu. The problem is the Yerushalmi says you go back to Shema Koleinu. Rav Haigoin is just echoing what the Yerushalmi says. So everyone asks, how could you Rambam argue against the Yerushalmi? The Yerushalmi says, when you're in Maidim, you go back to Shema Koleinu. How could the Rambam ignore the Yerushalmi? But the answer is very simple. Because the Yerushalmi says something else, and we know in that the Yerushalmi is incorrect, or we don't pass like that. And because you don't pass like that Yerushalmi, the Rambam knows you don't pass like this Yerushalmi. What is that? What is that? What is the law if you don't say Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem? Let's say you forgot to say Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem after Shmini Atzeres. For those of us who are pure Nusach Ashkenaz. Meaning you said after Shmini Atzeres today, you said you forgot to say Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem. What's the law?
Forgot or you said Moriatal?
No, that's the point. If you're pure Ashkenaz, you're never going to say Moriatal. You'll never say Moriatal. Like I davened in young Israel. They don't say in America. They don't say. So what's the law? You got to daven again. If you do not say Mashiv Ruach Umarid Geshem, you have to daven again. That happens to me in Eretz Yisrael, or if you're Nusach Sfarad, you don't daven again because you actually always mention something. You always unless you're a total moron. It's like for some reason or other. I mean, it could happen. It could be that you just mentioned nothing for some reason. You spaced out. So we're talking about you didn't say Mashiv Ruach Umarid Geshem. Now, okay. So here you are. Most people in Eretz Yisrael say Moriatal. They don't say Yeshiva here Moriatal? They do. Most in Eretz Yisrael say Moriatal. What?
Do you say Moriatal in Israel?
Most people in Eretz Yisrael say Moriatal. Most people in Eretz Yisrael say Moriatal.
Even
Ashkenaz.
In the Chutz La'aretz, say that.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Now, here's the question. Okay, we can't. Here's the question. You're in Yerushalayim Ercha Barachim in Toshuv. And you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to say Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem. What do? Could you make it up in Shema Kaleinu? Can you make up missing Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem in Shema Kaleinu? We said for saying Talamotter, you can make it up. Can you make up Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem in Shema Kaleinu? So, we know the halacha is you cannot. If you're in Yerushalayim Ercha Barachim Toshuv and you realize you didn't say Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem, stop davening, start all over again. There is no second route. There's no contingency plan. There's no Shema Kaleinu. Wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Why not? Why is it when it comes to saying Talamater, we said you can make it up in Shema Kaleinu, and by Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem we said you can't make it up in Shema Kaleinu. And to make it even more pronounced or more salient, the Yerushalmi says you could say Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem in Shema Kaleinu. That's what the Yerushalmi says. The Yerushalmi says you could say Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem in Shema Kaleinu. So I see already got the point. What's the point? It all depends on what is being done in Shema Kaleinu. What is being done in Shema Kaleinu? Why is it that we could fix things in Shema Kaleinu? If the reason is like Tosfos and Rambam holds, and like the Bavli holds, just like in Shema Kaleinu, you could ask for your car, you could ask for your watch, you could ask for being a zillionaire, you could also ask for rain. And that's called Shoyel Adam Kol Sarchav. If that's the reason, and we said that means, if that's the reason, is it possible to say Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem in Shema Kaleinu? Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem is not a petition. Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem is a praise. Meaning, let's say I'm like davening, oh Shema Kaleinu, and then I'm like, oh God, please give me a car, please give me $1 million, please give me an airplane, and I say, you know God, I think you're a great guy. No, you're not supposed to say that there. You're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to do that. That's not what Shema Kaleinu is about. Shema Kaleinu is about asking God for things, right? You're not allowed to just say a random praise. It doesn't work, right? So if you forgot Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem, you can't make it up in Shema Kaleinu. Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem is not a petition. You're not asking God for anything. You're not saying he's a great, whatever he is. We'll call him a great guy. He's just great, right? That has no place in Shema Kaleinu. Oh, but the Yerushalmi says you could say Mashiv Ruach Umarid Gushem in Shema Kaleinu. How is that possible? It must be the Yerushalmi learns this, that Shema Kaleinu is a place to say Saint Talamater and Mashiv Ruach Gushem is nothing to do with the din of Shoyel Adam Sarchav. It has nothing to do with the din that you're allowed to ask for your car, you're allowed to ask for your boat. It's a special takana. The rabbis knew that us Jews sort of space out during davening. So the rabbi said, there's place number 1. Saint Talmud is by the rabbi said, by Shema Kaleinu, we're going to allow you to fix up any mistakes you made. A special takana that you could say it here. Oh. So now we understand, now it all fits into place. The Yerushalmi is Lishitasi. The Yerushalmi says that when you're at Maidim and you realize you made a mistake, go back and say Saint Talmutter in Shema Kaleinu. Why? Like the Rein says, you made an egregious mistake in place 1, which is Baruch Aleinu, and you made an egregious mistake in Shema Kaleinu, because that was stop number 2. That's where the Rabbanan say now you should ask for rain again. And Lishi Tasai, the Yerushalmi holds, if you make a mistake by Masha Baruch Hamayir Gushem, you could actually make it up where? In Shema Kaleinu. But the Rambam and the Bavli, that's how the Rambam knows that the Yerushalmi is wrong. Because we definitely pass like the Bavli. The Bavli says, Masha Baruch Hamayir Gushem, you cannot say in Shema Kaleinu. So the Rambam said, what do I see from that Bavli? Shema Kaleinu is not a place just to fix mistakes. You just can't fix mistakes. So why could you say Saint Talmutter in Shema Kaleinu? That happens to be just like you're allowed to ask for a car, you're allowed to ask for a watch, you're allowed to ask for $1 million. You can ask for rain too, but it's not really dedicated for rain. So Rambam L'Shitasai, since he holds like the Bavli, and the Bavli holds you cannot say Masha Baruch Hamayir Gushem in Shema Kaleinu. He also holds when you make a mistake in Moedim, you don't go back to Shema Kaleinu. You have to go back when you made a mistake. And the mistake is in Baruch Aleinu. The mistake wasn't in Shema Kaleinu. Shema Kaleinu really wasn't dedicated for rain. So the kids, sir, a beautiful piece of lumdis. If you don't get everything I just said now, but I'm sure we did, but we don't. Bottom line is, Halacha Maisa. If you're by Moedim and you realize you didn't say Saint Talmutter when you go back to Baruch Aleinu, you do not go to Shema Kaleinu. So if you're in V'yur Shalayim, you can make it up in Shema Kaleinu. Say Saint Talmutter in Shema Kaleinu. But if you're ready by Moedim, you got to go all the way back. If you forget Masha Baruch Hamayir Gushem, what's the Halacha Maisa? You're out. You got to daven it all over again.
After Moedim.
After anything. After Baruch Atah Hashem Mechayim Eitzim. After Mechayim Eitzim, you're out. You daven again. If you started out the Kaddish, If you start out the Kaddish, you're out. No waiting for Shema Kaleinu. You're out. You got to daven all over again. And now we just said the Machlokes of Haigoin and the Rambam, based on the Hutner's understanding, basically Shalmi and the Bavli. This is a beautiful Torah. Now, we have not even started yet. But don't go nowhere, Gotti. I don't care what your wife is saying. I don't care. You wait right over here. Now, that was the easy part. Now we get to that was the easy part of the shir. Now we get to the mathematical part. What is the bottom line? When do we start saying Tein Talamotter? The Gemara says in Tainis, in Eretz Yisrael, we start from Zayim Cheshvan. Why? Why from Zayim Cheshvan? Really, we should have started from Shmini Atzeret. But it takes 15 days to get home because everyone was oil regel. So therefore, that's so we push it off for 2 weeks. The Ramban Shita is, maybe you haven't checked the latest news, but the Beis Midrash has not been around for a while. So the Ramban says, wait a minute, Ramban says, yeah, when there was oil regel, it makes sense he pushed it off for 2 weeks. But they know oil regel anymore. So the Ramban passes Halacha L'Maisa, you actually say Tein Talamotter Vracha from Shmini Atzeret. Because if the whole reason why you're pushing it off is because of the oil regalim, that they should get back home, the people went up, ascended to Yerushalayim, to Beis Midrash, there ain't no Beis Midrash anymore. Oh. So that's what, but we don't pass like Ramban, because the Ran says something amazing. No. Even in our days, people came to Yerushalayim, even though there was no Beis HaMikdash, and even though there was very few people, right, when the oil regel, when the times of Beis HaMikdash, who knows, hundreds of thousands, millions of people came to Yerushalayim. And in our days, how did people come up? I don't mean our days, days of the Ran, before they had the plaza, and before they had the Waldorf Astoria. A couple of people made the journey. But says the Ran, since there were a couple of people made the journey, we don't say Tal Umat Ulevracha until Zayin Cheshvan for those couple of people. That's what the Ran says. It doesn't possible. But this is a big but. Bottom line is, we ain't there yet. We ain't there yet. That's where the math gets involved. We ain't there yet. But Halacha l'maisa. If we're talking about an Eretz Yisrael now, because we have to be an Eretz Yisrael. If you actually made a mistake, and right, a lot of people don't notice. Everyone's like, "Oh, Mashiach by Gushem," and so excited, feels Geshem, and then they come monthly sukkahs, they start saying saying Talamatul Racha, like, yeah, right? They're like, no, you're supposed to wait 2 weeks. Oh my God, they got to daven again? No, you don't got to daven again. Why? Why? If you say in the summer in Eretz Yisrael, saying Talamatul Racha, you got to daven again, because you said you got to, because you made a curse. If you say something inimical, if you say something pernicious, something bad, in davening, you got to daven again. If you say saying Talmud in the middle of summer, you got to daven again. But what do we just say now? Says the Shem Orba. The truth is, really, we should start saying Talmud for Shmini Atzeres. We don't do it because other Regalim. But we said there aren't really other Regalim. Yeah, but there are a couple of people. And says the Shem Orba, besides, nowadays the whole thing is not really relevant because it don't take 2 weeks. We got cars and we got planes. So says the Shem Orba, he put everything together. Since the whole reason of waiting 2 weeks, according to Ramban, doesn't exist, and even according to Rein, it's only for a couple of people. And nowadays, b'chalal, we have cars. The whole reason doesn't make any sense. How long will it take to get to here to Iraq? An hour to fly plane, right? By bus, how long will it take? 10 hours? Oh. So therefore, if you made a mistake, so good news, if you made a mistake, it's the same Talmud Racha from Shmini Atzeres by mistake, you don't daven again. Oh, now God, he wants to know, and here we have to really use our brain. I know we're tired, but why do we, in America, England, even Australia, South Africa, December 4th is when we start saying Talmud. Right? December 4th. Yeah.
So it changes every 125 years.
Wait a minute. This is all confusing. But let's get it. The reason is because it's an open Gemara. The Gemara says, black and white, Ubegoyla ad Shishim b'tkufa. Goyla, which is Bavel, 60 days after the Tkufa. 60 days after Tkufa is when you start saying Tal Umata Levracha. Meaning, in Eretz Yisrael, they need rain. Eretz Yisrael needs rain. I used to follow the Mets and the Yankees. Now I follow the Canary. They go. I want to see how high the Canary is. Right? It's a big pastime in Israel to check out if the Canary is rising. So in Eretz Yisrael, you need rain. So we're supposed to start saying from. We said already, really from Shmini Atzeres, really, but definitely from Zayin Cheshvan. In Bavel, where it was very low, they didn't need rain because all the rain would drain into Bavel anyway. So from all the surrounding lands. So Bavel did not need rain. So they start saying Talmud Racha when? 60 days after the Tkufa. Well, wait a minute. Let's get now. What in the world? 60 days after the Tkufa. What does the word Tkufa mean? What does Tkufa mean? What Tkufa? Oh, so Tkufa means the equinox, right? The equinox. Do we know what that is? We don't know what that is. So this is going to take a lot longer. This is going to take a lot longer than I thought. There are 4 seasons of the year. 4 seasons, right? Right. The 2 of them, we'll say it in Hebrew. There's Tkufas Tishrei, Tkufas Tammuz, Tkufas Nisan, and Tkufas Tevis, as I recall. Now, what does that mean? Basically means we're going to concentrate on the season Tkufas Tishrei. Right? When it says over here that we say 60 days in America after Tkufa, it means Tkufas Tishrei. What does Tkufas Tishrei mean? The autumn equinox. That's what it means. What is the equinox? That is when the sun is directly over the equator, And in that time, the night and the day are the same time. 12 hours, 12 hours. There's also in Nisan the equinox, and the solstice is when the day is the longest or the night is the longest. So basically, you got that? So we're concentrating on Tkufas Tishrei. On Tkufas Tishrei, which is the equinox, so you count 60 days from there, and that's when you start saying Talamata, because that's when Bavel needs rain. And since Bavel, as we all know, is a great Jewish center, there are probably like a half of Jews living there now in Iraq and Iran, but we know, at least in the good old days, Bavel was the place. So all other lands go up to Bavel. So everywhere in the world, you're going to start saying Saint Talamatar 60 days after. Oh. Now, here are all the questions that Gadi brought up. I don't know if I have time to give you all the answers, but basically. So why is it December 4th and December 5th? What is that going to do? If you open up any art scroll or any other thing, it'll say December 4th Ma'ariv. You start saying you start saying Saint Talamatar. Or December 5th, the year preceding a leap year. Right? And if you really want to get confused, some say you say December 5th and December 6th, but they put in the night preceding December 5th and December 6th. It's really the same thing. When you say December 4th at night, you mean, let's say December 4th is Sunday. So Ma'ariv, you mean the Ma'ariv of December 4th, which is really the end, it is going to be basically the end of the day. The Kitzur. December 4th, the Ma'ariv. Now, what's holy about December 4th and December 5th? Question 1. And why is it that it changes? Question 2. Some people mentioned here, it wasn't always December 4th, December 5th. In the 1700s, it was December 2nd and December 3rd. In the 1800s, it was December 3rd and December 4th. Every 100 years it changed. For the 1900s and for the 20th century, right, the 2000s, it doesn't change. Meaning from 1900 from 1900 to 2100, it will stay to December 4th and December 5th. The 1700s, December 2nd, December 3rd. 1800, December 3rd, December 4th. For the next 200 years, December 4th, December 5th. When we're going to get to 2100, then it will move up to December 5th and December 6th. They're like, wow, Rabbi, fine. But it's like, where's all this happening from? First of all, why are we not talking about Jewish states? You know, Hanukkah, we usually talk about like Jewish, like Chafei Kislev. You know, we're very Jewish oriented over here. All of a sudden, December 4th, December 5th. And what's going on here? I mean, I don't think they had December 4th, 25th when they wrote this Gemara. I don't think so. The biggest question, which is the answer to all the questions, is Gadi's question. We're not astronomers over here, are we? But the little bit we know, it comes out according to, if you just say December 4th and December 5th is 60 days after the equinox, you're saying the equinox is happening on October 7th. So you're opening up, yep, October 7th. The equinox is October 7th. That's when the Tkuf is. We're talking about Tkufas Tishrei. October 7th. And 60 days after that is December 4th. If you know anything about the calendar, the equinox happens on September 22nd or December 23rd. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. If you're going to look for the equinox on October 7th, you're going to be, you're going to get a shock. So this is the real question. This is just not right. The equinox is not October 7th. It's off by 15 days. It's September 22nd, September 23rd. Right. So what happened? What happened? Oh. The answer is, it's a little bit of history. And us English buffs should enjoy this little piece of history. The truth is, how many days are there we're talking here all about solar year, we're talking about the sun. We're not going to deal with the moon at all. That's the first answer. The reason why I'm not talking about Hebrew dates is because Hebrew dates have to deal with the moon. This has nothing to do with the moon. It has to do with the sun. The solstice, the equinox. It has nothing to do with the moon. How many days are there in a year?
364 and a quarter.
No, less than that.
Wait a minute. Here's the trick question. 365 and a quarter.
365 and a quarter. Sorry.
Less than.
365 and a quarter. Megillah.
365 and a quarter. So when you open up a Julian calendar, Julian being Mr. Julius Caesar, he and Shmuel, if he mentions them together, felt a year is 365 and a quarter. So how does it work in a calendar? You're not going to write, you don't say a year is 365. They made 3 years of 365, and a 4th year is a leap year, and you have 366. This is why every 4th year, February, they add a day. So 3 years is 365. The 4th year is 366. What's the answer? The answer is both wrong. It's really 365 and a quarter. But we're not going to make a calendar based on that. Make a calendar both. All right. And that's the way Mr. Julius Caesar, right? Remember him? Good guy. Not such a great guy, actually. But he did the calendar. Now, 365, right? Basically 1,000. Every 4 years is 1,000, 400 and, what is it, 41? 21, yeah, 41, right. 1,000, what's 1,200? 1,200, yeah, 41. 1441, that's what it comes out, 1441. Good, now. There's a guy named Mr. Now, there's a problem here. What is the problem?
It's slightly off.
It's slightly off. It's off by 11 minutes.
That's
A real solar year. When I say a solar year, I mean you can start wherever you want, but to get back to the exact same place. Is actually 11 minutes off. You'll say 11 minutes, big deal, Rabbi, fine. You know, say it starts 9, become 9:11. No, that's a big deal. Yeah, maybe 11 minutes is not a big deal. But when you're dealing with a couple of thousand years, 11 minutes is a big difference. 11 minutes comes out 15 days in 18 years, in 1,800 years. So let's portray it. We're in the time when we're making the calendar, in Mr. Julius Caesar's time over there. Solstice, September 23rd. That's what they want it to be. Not exactly, September 22nd. The next year, okay, next year, 365 or 366. The next year, if you think a year is 365 and a quarter, the solstice is really happening here, but you're saying it's happening here. Each year as you go around, the solstice is really happening here, and you're saying it's happening here. Because you're adding on 11 minutes. So basically, what happens is, in a couple thousand years, you're saying the solstice is happening here, you're saying it's happening here, it's really happening here. Because you're adding 11 minutes. Oh. So there's a guy named Mr. Gregory, aka Pope Gregory, who figured out that there's something wrong here. So what did he do? He made the Gregorian calendar. And what did he do? He took 10 days out of the calendar. One day he woke up and he just took 10 days. Because Mr. Gregory woke up, Mr. Pope Gregory woke up and says, wait a minute. We're saying the solstice is happening here. It ain't happening here. It's actually happening here. Meaning, we're saying it's happening October 7th. I'm making up a date now. It's not happening October 7th. It's happening. We're saying, when Gregory was around, we're saying it's happening September 23rd. It's actually happening September 10th. Because we kept on adding. So you know what Mr. Gregory did? He took 10 days out, and he put September 23rd over here. Okay, that's what he did. That's called the... Now, what happened was England didn't like Mr. Gregory too much because he was Catholic. And English people don't like Catholics. They're Protestants, as I recall. Right? So they actually only did this 200 years later. That's called the famous 11 lost days. Because England did it only 200 years later because they thought Mr. Gregory was putting the wool over the eye and he's doing some type of Catholic he-Jew-E-G over there. Anyway, it's a little history. It's amazing to look at the history about how the calendar developed. Be doesn't A. Pay attention. Pay attention. So we are in Mr. Gregory fixed the calendar. But okay, he took out 10 days. But how is he going to fix it from here on in? Okay, you know what? They were 10 days off. He took out 10 days. Okay, so let's start. So how do they fix it? What they fix is it works out if you say it's 364 and a quarter days, which is 364 and 6 hours, you're off by 11 minutes. It works out, you're every 128 years, you're off by a day, right? What they did was basically, if you know how the calendar works, every 4th year is a leap year. Every 100th year is not a leap year. But every 400 years, it is a leap year. Okay? That's the rule of the Gregorian calendar. Meaning, every 4 years is a leap year, except year 1700, 1800, and year 1900 will not be a leap year. Year 2000 will yes be a leap year.
2100.
2100 will not be a leap year. I'm sure you all knew this. You must have known this. This is your calendar, right? Gregorian calendar, right? This is what it is. Now, it's getting too late here, and if I go through all the numbers, you'll kill me. Just get it. I just need to get the calendar. It's going out like this. We asked the question. Hey, you Shmuel are saying October 7th is the is when the equinox is happening. That's not true. It's happening December 23rd. The answer is Shmuel is wrong. Shmuel, well, I know, say with a grain of salt. Shmuel did not fix. Mr. Gregory over there, Pope Gregory, fixed the calendar. Shmuel never fixed it. Shmuel was just like Julian Caesar in his calendar, that he felt it was 365 and a quarter. And that is why Shmuel is saying October 7th is when the equinox is happening, because his year is a little bit too long. Now, so in reality, based on our calendar, the equinox is happening on September 23rd, but based on the Jewish calendar, which is based on Shmuel, he's saying it's happening October 7th. Okay? Because basically he never fixed it. So he's 15 days off. Now, this is why every 100 years things get messed up. Because basically, if you think about it, when does Mr. Gregory's calendar fix it? On the 100th year. So every 100th year, Shmuel's going to get more off, right? So in the year 1700, it was December 2nd, December 3rd. The year 1800, 3rd and 4th. 1900, 4th and 5th, which is not good. We're going in the wrong direction. It's not good. Meaning eventually, if Mashiach does not come, God forbid, in the year 6000, which is another whole year, is it sacrilegious to say not? If Mashiach does not come in 1,000 or 2,000 years, we'll be saying Saint Talamat Avracha Pesach time. That's what's gonna happen. We will be saying Saint Talamat Pesach time. That's what's gonna happen in America. It's not just Israel. Israel's good because Israel has to do with Zayin Cheshvan. Israel's good. Israel will always be Zayin Cheshvan. But in America, it's going to keep on going off because really the solstice is here, and Shmuel keeps on saying it's here, 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 here. You'll eventually end up in it, right? The Bekitzer. The bottom line is Shmuel. Now, a lot of Rishonim say that Shmuel knew everything. He knew he was off. He knew he was off. He just knew Mashiach was coming in 6,000 years. So he knew that even though he's off now 15 days, he knew basically the next 200 years he'll only be off for another day, basically. By then Mashiach is going to come and everything will be okay. Now, why did Shmuel, if Shmuel knew he was off, so, because he didn't want to make things complicated. He just said, let's make things, he picked a very easy number, 365 and a quarter. He didn't want to say 365 and 5 hours and 48 minutes. He didn't want to have a Gregorian calendar. Leap year here, every 100th year no leap year, the 400 years yes leap year. He didn't want to do that. So he knew he was doing something wrong, and he just said, and he knew he would be off by 15 days, but he looked and he said, oh, by Mashiach come, I'll be off only 16 days, that's okay. But if God forbid Mashiach does not come at that point in time, and if you still decide to stay from, right, again, that's a whole question. What do we hold about Mashiach coming in the year 6000? If you keep on doing this, at the end, you'll be saying Saint Talmud in the summer. That's what's going to end up happening, because Shmuel is off a little bit every single year. Rabbi say, it's late. I'm not going to keep you here anymore. But I've answered all your questions. I've answered why the solstice the equinox is September 23rd, and why Shmuel says October 7th. Why it's changing every 100 years. I also answered it if you it's hard for me to explain. Every 400th year, it won't change. That's why 1900 and 200, in the year 1900, the year 2000s, there won't be a change. Because in the 400 years, you don't need to fix it. In the 400 years, you don't have to fix it. In the 400 years, there is a leap year, which means you don't have to fix the mistake. Okay? This is the bottom line of, now, this is also why Birkas Hachama, when do we do Birkas Hachama?
28 years.
Right, 128 years. Why is that? Because it's the same, it's very simple math. Birkas Hachama is when the sun is in the exact same place when God put it into the world. If 365 days in a quarter basically means you're moving a day and a quarter away. If you have 28 years, right, you have gotten to a number that is divided by 7. You got them to 35, right? So basically, God put the world over here. The sun in the world at this day, this point, this time. Next year, it's a day and a quarter away. Next year, a day and a quarter away. Eventually, if you do it 28 years, what's 28 times 1 and a quarter? 35. It's divided by 7. So the second you get any number, the second it's divided by 7, you're back in the same place. This is why we do Birkas Hachama. So is it right or wrong? It's wrong. It's wrong. It's not right because the world, it's not 365 and a quarter. It's 365 and 5 hours and 48 minutes. But we're going to say the same thing. Shmuel knew all this, but he just wanted to make life easier. Rabbi, we're going to stop here. I know you don't want me to stop. But the truth is, I did not get to the main part of my shir. I did not. Because the main part of the shir was about what do you guys do? Guys who are traveling from Eretz. That's the big question. The big same Talamat Devrach question. What is the big question? The big question is, what does the Israeli do who goes to America and he visits America? What does an American do who visits Eretz Yisrael? What do Talmidei Yeshivas do? This is the big same Talamat question, but sadly enough, we won't be able to answer that until next year around. We can say Talmud Devrach again. Okay? So I hope this was at least a little bit clear. Thank you, Rabbi Isai. We'll stop here.